Today, I want to talk about a run that you probably never even heard of, and if you did, you might not have read. It has never been collected in any type of format, even trade paperback, omnibus, nothing. And so today, I want to talk about a run that I just read in its entirety on DC Infinite's app, and kind of just talk about why I was surprised how good this run was. So in the 80s, Perez and Wolfman basically recreated the Teen Titans into making them a powerhouse team. And I'm not just talking about who you know as the Teen Titans. Literally, they changed the game in the 80s, making them more personable, having just everyday conversations, being teenagers, and just having this more modern feel to them. And it was such a big hit that it was one of the only comics to be selling alongside Marvel, who at the time was just dominating in sales. And this, of course, led to Crisis on Infinite Earth, which both of them helmed, and it became one of DC's biggest thing and changed DC forever, letting them reboot all the characters such as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and so on. And so Wolfman pretty much worked on Teen Titans for 15 years, and someone who has read some of it, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but I appreciate what he did. I know how important that series was, and while I like some of the beginning of it, after the 1988 or maybe even a little before that, it really started going downhill for me. There's some decent stuff in between, but it's just a series that I have never had huge attachments to because I read it much later in life. However, Teen Titans stayed very popular for those 15 years, but in the mid-90s, they wanted to refresh the title. And DC decided to make two series, one called Young Justice, which really focused more on the younger characters like Robin, Superboy, and all these other characters, Arrowette, that they introduced in the early 90s, and they wanted this to be a very much young teen, kind of kid, but like young teen book. On the flip side, they had all these characters who are in their very late teens or early 20s, and we love them. We love Nightwing, we love Roy, we love Donna Troy, we love Wally, we love all these characters, and they wanted to put them on a team. So instead of calling them Teen Titans, they just called them Titans. And in 1999, we got this series called Titans, and it was written by 3 different writers for this run. And we're going to go through each one, and I'm going to describe what I thought of each era, and then just tell you overall if it's worth reading. So let's start with the first 20 issues or so, which are written by Devin Grayson. Now, controversial figure aside, some people don't like her Nightwing. For me, I've always enjoyed what she does with characters. Give them a very grounded feel, give them very normal conversations about life and just general friendships and relationships, and I like that a lot. So I was really excited to see what she had in store for the Titans. While the very first issues might have been a bit uneven as a team, reestablishing its rhythm and everything, Grayson quickly found her stride. Her strength laid in the grounding these larger-than-life superheroes in just a personal narratives type storyline, which is what she does best. She still had those explosive superhero type missions, but she also focused on Nightwing running this team and trying to work with his friends while everybody has emotions flying high. And for me, if I'm going to celebrate one thing about her era, I'm going to talk about the character evolution. We witnessed some big growth for things like Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson, who continued to grapple with the, weighty responsibility of being a leader, but also trying to get out of the legacy or the shadow of Batman, which is so good to see because that should be a big character mark at this point. He has left the Batman shadow. He's trying to be his own man, but he's also trying to lead a team, but he's also trying to be friends with this team. So he's juggling a lot, whereas Batman is very much, when he's on the Justice League, he cares about them, but he's very much a dominant leader. He tells them what to do, and Nightwing wants to be that, but he also doesn't want to treat them like soldiers. He wants to treat them like friends, like a family that they can work as a unit. And also, we get some really good character development with Jesse Quick, who is one of my favorite from the Flash run. Instantly became one of my favorite speedsters ever when I read the Flash Wally's run. And just her journey of self-discovering and her struggles with just using her powers, and really the biggest thing, her place on this team. I think it deeply resonates with people who join a team or join a company or join a friendship circle and try to fit in. And so if you like Jesse, I think you're going to get a lot of character development here. And that goes for other characters too, like Cyborg. I think they have some interesting moments here, a character who I'm usually not a big fan of. And even Starfire, again, a character I'm not a big fan of. And I like both of them here. And then, of course, you have Roy, who deals with his daughter Leanne, and all of those are really good character development moments because you feel for Roy as a father dealing with his insane ex-wife, who's the mother of, you know, his daughter. So Chastire, sorry, my pronunciation's terrible, but she is a villain and they have to deal with that, and it really hits some emotional levels for people who have to deal with parents getting divorced or in your own divorce. So I really liked all that. And really a big standout moment here, at least for me, and I think other fans would agree, is one that's kind of weird, is that it's Dick just kind of yelling at his team after they almost fumbled a mission. And it's really cool because it's just them standing in a room, the whole issue, just arguing. And it's really great because you see the bonds and the simmering tensions all start to bubble up at this moment. And as a fan of superhero comics, I like the big fights, but for me, the personal moments, just them talking it out, is the best. And sure, they might throw fists or throw lasers. I saw you, Starfire. It just really is a great moment, and I think it's beautifully illustrated by artists like Mark Buckingham, who did the art here. So all of that I really enjoyed. There's a lot of moments of just grounded, talking things out that just worked for me in Grayson's run. Now I want to talk about Jay Faber. I think I'm saying his name. He took over for Grayson after she left. And I gotta say, to me, this is the unsung apex of the run for me. And he actually wrote the most issues in the series, writing over 20 issues. And this whole run is about 50 issues. Annuals, maybe 52. And this period, in my opinion, represents the absolute best parts of the entire run. Jay is not only preserving the strong character work that was established by Grayson, but elevating the superhero plotting to, in my opinion, a higher standard. He seamlessly integrated established characters while developing fresh new dynamics and relationships. And I think the two biggest things that I got from that is characters like Tempest, aka Garth, finally coming into his own. I think he becomes a truly crucial character in this team, and also getting more of a showcase of his life underwater with his wife Dolphin and his child. And so seeing Aqualad actually become a character that I'm rooting for and want to see more of, that to me is just good storytelling, because that was a character I never gave a shit about, and all of a sudden I was interested in. I also think Jay masterfully introduced and explored themes of the new kids, these kids who were placed under the protection of the Titans, and they have powers, and the Titans kind of have to work with these kids to try to develop their powers and work with them. But there's a whole underlining theme going on of the old school Titans, or Teen Titans, now they're the Titans, taking care of the next line of what could be Titan characters. And I really just loved that mentorship that they had going on. On top of that, I really liked the secret here with all the, I kind of want to spoil it, even though the run's like 25 years old, but there's a character here who's not who they seem. And as you learn more about the powers and the perception of what these characters are doing, it's really, really interesting how they end it, and very sad. I think that's one thing I love about this run. There's some really sad, somber moments. And again, a significant highlight for me in this run, especially during Jay's run, is Roy Harper, aka Arsenal, his daughter Leanne Harper, and this complex presence of Chastire, who is just an interesting character because she's a piece of shit, but she also has reasons to be that, but she's still awful. So you get like the back and forth a lot. And I think that family dynamic added a layer of emotional depth and continue to weave through Roy's life and just make it complicated, which is always something I want to read with superheroes, to get through complicated situations. So what I'm trying to say here is I think Jay truly captured the spirit of the Titans during his run, delivering a consistent stream of compelling narratives that perfectly embodied the classic feeling of this team. And then along came Tom Pereira, and This to me is the disappointing descent of the series. Regrettably, he concludes the entire run with 2 arcs, and to me, the decline in quality is pretty drastic, bringing the entire series to, unfortunately, kind of this anticlimactic and often really frustrating read, if I'm being honest. The arc centered around, or the first arc centered around a dangerous new drug world, and I get it. They're trying to draw back into Roy's past of him being a drug addict, but I think it was just really poorly executed, and I was really uninspired by this. And Jessie went through some major big changes in the last run, and for them not really to focus on her too much in the next arc because of what she did, I think was a missed opportunity. And then we get the final arc, which is the return of Starfire. And I gotta be honest, this one was outright bad. It felt disjointed, it lacked logical coherence. It was just very unsatisfying and almost insulting in my way to conclude the series like this. I mean, the whole fucking D-list or degraded fucking storyline of aliens invading through radio waves is absolutely fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I think it's just dumb. I simply failed to see how they can end this series, which really surprised me in such a fucking lackluster way, and that's probably why it ended, because this arc sucked ass. But while the entire series ended there, issue 50 being the final, it wasn't really the true end. The true end was actually the next crossover, which was Titans and Young Justice Graduation Day. And I really like this because it's almost a brutal rebirth in a way. The actual impactful conclusion to this era is the Titans have to face off against a very strong enemy. I'm gonna spoil a little bit here because things happen, and if you don't want to be spoiled, skip this part. But basically, they have to team up to stop a very powerful enemy, and Cyborg Superman comes along, and he's a very strong enemy, and the Titans have a lot of trouble facing off against this, and unfortunately, Donna Troy and Omen meet their end, and these are major losses for both teams. Omen was a big character on Young Justice, Donna Troy on Titans, and so the finale of them dying and them losing these characters served as a powerful reminder that sometimes these superheroes will die. And while it's undeniably grim and to me a very emotionally charged ending, the ending actually builds up the rebirth of both these teams. So out is Young Justice, and the Young Justice team basically becomes the new Teen Titans with some new characters and some old faces like Gar and stuff. And then the Titans team becomes the Outsiders team, which is a lot darker team. Feels more like Special Ops versus the Titans family feels. And I think this is a great way to evolve them after they went through both the losses and really set the tone, which I have a whole video on them one day because I absolutely love that Outsiders run and I like the Teen Titans run. So maybe I'll do a video on both of them one day. But that sums up the Titans run from 1999 to 2003. It's a run that nobody ever really brings up. It's kind of forgotten. I'm not saying it's one of the greatest runs of all time, but I gotta be honest, I think it's a really strong contender for the best Titans run. Maybe personally because I have not read a Titans run that I've loved. I didn't love the Rebirth one. I'm not loving the current one. And I thought the rebirth of them, like right before the New 52, was solid, but not my favorite. But this one I thought overall, besides the ending, which I think the last 2 arcs are pretty bad, is definitely worth reading. If you like characters like Nightwing and Roy Harper and Donna Troy, I think all these characters, and Jesse Quick, all of them get such good character development and interesting storylines. Some questionable choices here or there, but if you're into character work, I think this run, this 50-issue run, is worth reading. Even if you'll just read to issue like 42, which is where Jay kind of departs, it's definitely worth reading for that. But I would love to see your opinions. Have you read this run? And if you did you enjoy this run? It's something I never ever see brought up, very rarely, but it's a run that I wanted to talk about just because I really enjoyed it myself, and something that you could read on DC Infinite right now. And I'm not promoting them as a sponsor, I wish, but I'm not. It's just that's the only place I know where to read this. It has its full run, and if again and again, if you do enjoy this run, make sure to read Titans / Young Justice Graduation Day, because that really is the ending to this entire run and not that shitty ass issues 48, 49, and 50. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button. If you love this video, hit the subscribe button. That means a lot to me. That means that you enjoyed this and I want to put out more content like this. And I hope you guys have a wonderful